All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Thursday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. Hopefully you guys play a great trick on somebody and ruin their day. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And despite a pretty rough day on my Patreon website yesterday, we did still improve to 2-0 in our last two board member tier package picks on my Patreon page. We're also still hitting at 83% in our last dozen extra daily picks on that Patreon site as well. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. The link for that site is in the description section below. Once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now we're going to go ahead and start here with the Sixers taking on the Cavaliers. That's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern start time. The Philadelphia 76ers are -9 on the road with the total at 212.5. If you like the Cavaliers in an upset on their home court, they're plus 310 on the money line. Cleveland's on a 3-game losing streak, 3-7 straight up in their last 10. Love and Dellavedova are questionable. Allen and Nance are still out. Cavaliers are currently 13 games below 500, and they rank dead last in the NBA in scoring. Cleveland averages just 102 points per contest. They're taking on a Philly team who's in the top 10 defensively in points allowed, top 5 in defensive field goal percentage. Tobias Harris is scoring nearly 21 points a game, along with 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Meanwhile, Ben Simmons is dropping over 15.5 a night himself, along with 7 rebounds and 7 assists as well. The Sixers allow just 108 points per contest when they travel. When it comes to the total in this one, 4 out of Philadelphia's last 5 ball games stayed under the line, 70% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Cavaliers' last 5 straight all stayed under the total themselves, 29 and 18 to the under overall for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Philadelphia 76ers -9 and the under 212.5. Next game, Wizards Pistons, 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off. The Washington Wizards are -3, numbers 224. Now, Bradley Beal's questionable for the Wizards here this evening. Howell Neto is questionable to play as well. Washington, they've won just 7 of 21 on the road this season. They're currently dead last defensively in points allowed. They're giving up nearly 120 points per contest. They're taking on a Detroit squad who's 12-10 against the number on their home court. They've also gone 60% against the spread in their last 10. Jeremy Grant scores 22 points per contest, 4 rebounds, 2 assists for the starting forward. Meanwhile, Hammy Diallo scoring 14 a night through 3 games himself with the Pistons, of course. The Pistons allow just 109 points per contest at the Little Caesars Arena. When it comes to the total in this one, Detroit's 12-10 to the under on their home court. Washington is 13-8 to the under when they travel, surprisingly. The Wizards also saw 3 out of their last 4 ball games stay under the total as well. I'm going to lean toward the Detroit Pistons +3 and the under 224. Next matchup, it is going to be Hornets versus the Nets, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time. The Brooklyn Nets are -3 with a total at 223 flat. If you like Charlotte, an upset win on the road here, they're plus $1.35 for some money line cash. Now, the Hornets have been victorious in just 11 of 24 road games. They're in the bottom 3 in defending the 3 ball on the road, and they allow nearly 116 points per contest when they travel. They're taking on a Brooklyn squad who's on a 3-game winning streak, and they rank first in the NBA in scoring. Kyrie Irving scoring over 28 points a game, along with 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Now, keep an eye on James Harden. He's kind of, having a little bit of tightness in his hammy, so keep an eye on him. Now, total-wise, Brooklyn's 29 and 19 to the over this season. Charlotte's 15 and 9 to the over away from home. I'm going to lean toward the Brooklyn Nets -3 and the over 223. Next matchup, Warriors versus the Heat, 8 o'clock East. The Miami Heat's -2.5, totals 219. Miami's on a 2-game winning streak, top 3 in the NBA in points allowed. Miami gives up just 107 points per contest, and they're led by Jimmy Butler, who scores 21 points a game, along with 7 rebounds and 7 assists. Bam Adebayo is also scoring over 19 a night himself. 9 rebounds, 5 assists for the big center. The Heat's in the top 3 in defensive field goal percentage. Despite the absence of Victor Oladipo and potentially Kendrick Nunn, they're taking on a Golden State team who's been victorious in only 9 of 24 road games. Equally as bad, the Warriors have covered the number in just 37% of those games away from home as well. Golden State is they're dead last in the league in defensive rebounding, bottom 5 in points allowed on the road. Golden State is giving up 116 points a night when they travel. Eric Paschall's been listed as out for the Warriors. When it comes to the total, 2 out of Golden State's last 3 got over the number. Miami saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the total themselves, throwing out the Indy game. I'm going to lean toward the Miami Heat minus 2.5 in the over 219. Next ball game, it is going to be Magic versus the Pelicans, 8 p.m. Eastern showdown. The New Orleans Pelicans are minus 8.5 at home, numbers 219 flat. Now, Zion Williamson and Lonzo Ball are both questionable for tonight's contest. The Pelicans have also covered just 12 of 25 at the Smoothie King Center, and they still find themselves 4 games below 500. The Pelicans are in the bottom 3 in free throw percentage, bottom 10 in points allowed. New Orleans is giving up 115 points per contest, and they also allow their opponents to hit nearly 40% of their three-pointers against them. So once again, New Orleans allows their opponents to hit nearly 40% of their three-pointers against them. They're taking on an Orlando team who's coming fresh off a 7-point victory over the Clippers. Orlando's currently 4-0 against the number in their last 4 straight, 7-2 against the spread in their last 9. Terrence Ross scores over 15.5 points a night, 3 rebounds, couple assists for the 6'6 guard. Meanwhile, Dwayne Bacon's also averaging double digits a game himself, along with 3 rebounds as well. Orlando is covering 50% of their ball games when they travel. They're also in the top 10 in the league in points allowed. Total-wise, 2 out of Orlando's last 3 got over the line, throwing out the Clipper game. Meanwhile, the Pelicans are 18-7 to the over at the Smoothie King Center. I'm going to lean toward the Orlando Magic plus 8.5 in the over 219. Next contest, it is going to be Hawks versus the Spurs, 8:30 p.m. Eastern start time. The Spurs are the 1-point favorite at home. Totals 220.5. San Antonio lost 5 out of their last 7 ball games, 12-14 straight up on their home court this year. San Antonio is in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding. Georgie Deng, Lonnie Walker, and Keita Bates-Diop, they're all questionable for tonight's action. They're taking on an Atlanta squad who, unfortunately, has to go to work here tonight without John Collins. Having said that, though, Trae Young's still dropping over 25 points per contest, along with 4 rebounds and 9.5 assists. Clint Capella is also grabbing over 14 rebounds a game, 14 points per contest on average as well. The Hawks are in the top 10 in defensive rebounding. When it comes to the total in this one, Atlanta's last 3 straight all got over the number. San Antonio saw 5 out of their last 8 get over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Hawks plus 1 in the over 220.5. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup of the show. It is going to be Nuggets versus the Clippers, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Denver Nuggets are the 1.5-point favorite on the road. Totals 220, juice to the over. Now, the Nuggets are in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage, bottom 10 in third quarter scoring. Morris is out. Whittington is questionable. They're taking on a Clipper team who won 6 out of their last 7 ball games. And they also went 7-2 against the spread in their last 9. Kawhi Leonard scoring 26 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. LA's currently 15 games above 500, and they're 17-7 straight up as the official home team. They're first in shooting the 3-ball, first in shooting from the stripe. The Clippers make 42% of their 3-pointers. When it comes to the number in this one, 4 out of LA's last 6 got over the posted total. Denver's 5-4 to the over in their last 9 themselves. Denver's also 14-10 to the over when they travel. I'm going to lean toward the LA Clippers plus 1.5 in the over 220. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I'm going to lean toward the Philadelphia 76ers -9, under 212.5. Detroit Pistons +3, under 224. Brooklyn Nets -3, over 223. Miami Heat -2.5, over 219. Orlando Magic +8.5, over 219. Atlanta Hawks +1, over 220.5. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 2-0 in our last couple of board member tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at 83% our last dozen extra daily picks on that Patreon page as well. I'm going to lean toward the LA Clippers +1.5 and the over 220. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some YouTube shout-outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Julio Soraya Jr., Jarrell Watson, Big Head Cusco. Shout out to The Rudy, Ziggy 007, Gio Lopez, Angelo Tarsatana, Matt McPeak, Stephen Lewis, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my good friend, David Bernard, the Nard Dog. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. Hey, guys, it's April 1st, so just keep in mind, when you sign up for a package on Patreon, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So you're getting max value for your dollar signing up for a package on the first of the month. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Patreon will bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Thursday to you. Happy April Fool's Day to you. And don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.